Hello, everyone. Welcome to this beautiful Monday morning, Monday afternoon, wherever you are joining us from, joining me from. For those that are new here, my name is James Bonanno, and it is a pleasure to be back here on Adobe Live for a 60-minute masterclass all about motion, specifically Premiere Pro and After Effects. Before we get started here, let's just welcome the chat in. Cody, hello, everyone in the chat today. It's a pleasure being with all of you here today on this Monday morning, Monday afternoon. So for those that are new to this format, if you haven't followed the Adobe Live YouTube channel, go over there, give them a subscribe. All of this content will be up and posted after the stream is live. If you are joining here on Behance, hop in the chat, say hello, ask me some questions. This is going to be as collaborative as I can possibly make it today. So any question is okay to ask in the chat. We have some amazing moderators in there helping us out. And with that being said, I just wanted to give just a quick little introduction to who I am, why I'm here on Adobe Live, and why you should take some tips away from today's stream. So I am a professional video creator and photographer and video editor. For those that are over on Instagram and the socials, here is my account. I've been sharing some recent videos of some of the things we're going to be talking about today, some hacks inside of Premiere Pro that I think will benefit any video creator out there, really, not just professional ones. And my wife and I, Anna, who is a member of the Adobe family as well, run our own travel business called Leave the Map, where we create video content and photography content specifically for travel brands and different companies, all around the world. So come on over. We're also on Instagram as well, and give us a shout out. And I am on Behance as well, where I share some of these projects. So you can find me sort of anywhere on the socials, and I am always open to collaborating and to answering any questions you may have. I'm also just one individual teaching motion and these tips that I have today. So if you have suggestions of things you want to learn while we're going on the stream today, please let me know in the chat. I would be happy to go over some of those things. Yeah, and with that being said, yes, Main Stage Anna is, that's now her nickname apparently in the chat. Anna McNaught, yes, Main Stage Anna. She did the keynote at Max, which very proud husband moment, and she worked her butt off on that one, and I was very, very proud of her. So let's hop out of my face here, go into my face here, and just go over a couple of things that I want to talk about in today's stream. So the title on the thumbnail that you've probably clicked on here is 6 hacks in 60 minutes. These are hacks that I have either learned from other editors, I've learned on my own, both inside of Premiere Pro and in After Effects. Again, you may or may not know these hacks, but there's always a different way of doing them for anyone watching the stream. So I really want to go into some of the hacks. Some are really, really simple, and they'll help to speed up your workflow and just make you a more efficient editor when it comes to like getting into the actual nuts and bolts of an edit quicker. I think there's a very specific procrastination that kind of is involved in video editing, and I am guilty of it as well, where we hop into the edit and we want to organize everything and get everything looking really good before we actually get into the actual edit, and that can take some time and sort of pull you out of your creative inspiration. So all of these little hacks I'm going to talk about today are intended to hopefully teach you something new inside of Premiere and After Effects and get you started on the actual edit process a little bit quicker so you can get to the creativity, which is what we're all here to see. Hi, Marsha. Hi, Alessandra. Hi, Cody. Always a pleasure to have everyone here. Rick, hello, everyone. Let's do this thing. Let's just get started on the basics of how I organize my projects. I was on here last year, and I think even months prior to that, and I was talking about the importance of organizing your project panel and your window to make sure that every time you start a new project, you have that same consistent flow. And I believe in the new Premiere Pro beta version, I did a video on my Instagram about this, there is a way to standardize these templates. And we're going to start with this one because it's not the most, flashy hack, but it is something that has saved me a ton of time, and it's really important to go over. So let me get started here. I'm just going to hide myself over here, and I want to look at myself while we're working here. Alrighty, so I have just a regular project file open here, and to start, I'm going to go into the vertical panel window. Let's move this down here. And I like working in the window workspace of which I am shooting. So for social media, I'm constantly shooting now I'm shooting natively in that 1080 by 1920 aspect ratio. So I like to edit inside of this vertical format here. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is just to show you my sort of flow of how I organize projects first. So I'm going to delete this out of here. We don't want to see that. And this is how I set up my bins in every project. Again, this is just my specific organization structure. So I like to keep my sequences at the top of my folder structure so I can go kind of in sequential order of how I might edit a project, okay? Command B will create that bin folder, good little shortcut. Then I go into footage, you can do media. I guess in this case, we can do media, okay? We're gonna go to 303. I like to put audio in here, and we're gonna add some subfolders to this as well. The beauty about this hack is you only need to do this one time, unless you wanna add things to it, and so on and so on. So we're going to go to 4. We're going to call this GFX. This is graphics. So these are any like bumpers and renders that I create inside of Premiere, maybe MOGRT files, animations in After Effects, those sorts of things. Then we're going to go to 5, stills, 6. Sometimes I do color. So any like adjustment layers that I'm doing, which we are going to talk about at the end of today's stream. And then we'll go 7. We're going to call these extras. There's always tons of little floating adjustment layers, color mats, solids, whatever it is that you're just, it's sort of outside the closet and you want to put it inside the closet, but you don't know where to put it in that extras folder. Okay. And then inside sequences, what I like to do is go and create a nests folder. The reason I do this is you're going to constantly start nesting clips, almost like a pre-comp inside of Premiere, like you would in After Effects when you're creating warp stabilizers or effects, or you're just trying to tidy up your timeline. And rather than naming every one of those nests, I like to just throw them all into one folder. And then afterwards, when I'm tidying up that project file, I can go in there and do it then. Drafts and edits. These are going to be my working edits, which I'll show you how I organize those in a minute. And then we're going to go to selects. Okay, and these are my selects. So in every project I work on, whether it be social media here for Adobe Live, whether it's professional client work, this is how I have those sequences set up. And then under media, this you can go into a number of different things. You can go, iPhone folder. You can just do footage folder versus stills. If you want to just call this footage, again, this is just total preference. So we'll just leave footage just blank for now. And then in audio, I have music. Always got to have a music folder, a voiceover folder if I need it, and then a sound effects folder. Those are sort of like my 3 audio file sources that I constantly use. And we're going to close that. Graphics, we're going to leave alone. And then we'll just drag the sequence up in here. We'll just add that to selects. And then this is footage. Okay. So that's right here. You have this little like arrow, so you can make it a little bit bigger. This is a nice little feature in here as well. Okay. So I'm going to press save. All right. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to File. Now that I've had this selected, I'm actually going to remove these 2 things because we just want to have an empty folder that we can start with. So we go to File, and there's a button that says Save as Template. Again, I'm pretty sure this is a new feature inside of the Premiere. I believe it's in the live version. I'm not 100% sure. So if someone's in the chat and can verify that, let me know. But all you have to do is press Save as Template, and you're just going to name this template name. Okay, so we're going to name this James Base folder structure. All right, and I have some of these saved already, and you'll see why in a minute. I'm going to press save. All right, and we're just going to press save on our project, and we're going to quit out of Premiere Pro. All right, and now what I'm going to do, you're going to get a quick little glimpse into my Finder window. Hopefully, it is organized for all you people out there that keep a nice organized desktop, which I do. I'm going to open up the beta version just because I've been using this a lot more, and there's a few features inside of the beta version that we're going to be using today. Excuse me. All right, so new project. We're starting from scratch. Okay, we're going to name this title. I always like, this is another just personal preference when I'm creating projects. I always like to create my titles in this format with the date, the day, the year, underscore, and then the project. And this way I can go back into all of my other projects that I, am creating throughout the year, and I know exactly where to find them. So we're going to go 11, 13, 23. Happy Veterans Day, by the way, to all the men and women out there that are veterans and protect this country. I know that was sort of passed over this weekend, but had to make a shout out there. And let's just call this Adobe Live. All right, and we're going to save it to our project location. Those that are brand new to Premiere Pro know or don't know, but you want to make sure that all your project files are saved in one specific folder so the media is all linked. I'm going to go into my project files, save this, and now you see this little tab called Project Template. We go in here and you see that it says James Base Folder Structure. I'm going to click that and we're just going to press OK. I'm just dragging myself around the screen. All right, and create. And now when we create this, you'll notice, and I think it's saved because I had these two files in here, but I already have everything set up, ready to go. We never need to do it again. And every single time you create a project, you have this folder structure just ready to go. And you can begin basically pulling selects and editing the second you get started. So hack number one, project templates inside of Premiere Pro. Again, file, save as that template. This is just how I use the template. If you're just joining, you want to like zoom in on that and check it out. That right there is how I save every single project that I'm working on, no matter the project. Great. And Robert asked, do you always record audio separately? Not necessarily. If I'm recording audio on a mirrorless camera or a DSLR that doesn't have an XLR input, meaning I can record the audio with a lav mic, or maybe I'll plug this mic in using a recorder, an audio recorder. That's when I might record it separately, and then I'd sync the audio to the video inside of Premiere Pro. But I really try to film the audio if I can, and then just sort of work the audio into my footage in one clip inside of Premiere Pro. Great. Alrighty, so let's go into our second hack. My goal here is to try to make each of these about 10 minutes here. So I know I'm going to go over on some of them. All right, so second hack I want to talk about, and it's actually a perfect segue, is audio inside of Premiere Pro, specifically the beta version. So I'm going to import this clip, which I just had in here. I actually think it's already still in here. Great. All right, so we're going to create a new sequence first, and this is like absolute magic that I just still cannot get over how amazing it is. So we're going to go Enhance, Audio, V001. Again, this is just another weird labeling habit that I have of different drafts. We're going to throw that in drafts. All right, and let me just minimize this here. Hold this up. Okay, and I'm going to drag this audio clip right here into my sequence. And I'm going to go keep existing settings, but then I'm going to go into my effects panel here. All right, hold on one sec. Move this around. All right, and I'm going to scale this to 50 because I shot this in 4K, and we're going to rotate this to 90. Okay, so what I'm actually saying in this video is not the important part. What's the important part is I want to play back a section of this video, and you're going to hear some sort of background noise. You're going to hear some slight hissing. This is a great follow-up here to Robert's question about recording audio separately. So in this specific case, I'm here in the office that you are watching right now. I have a camera to my left with a little shotgun mic on top of the camera. So there's a lot of distance between my voice and the microphone itself. I was not using this microphone. I was using this more for the voiceover. And I wanted to really push the limits and test the new feature inside of Premiere Pro Beta called Enhanced Speech to see if that audio would work if I just used the Enhanced Speech feature and cleaned it up. Okay, so I'm going to just pull one little section here. We're going to press I on the keyboard, and we're going to play this back. And you at home will be able to hear the insane room tone and room noise that's going on. I'm on a project right now, and I have all of these clips inside of my timeline, all audio clips that I need to remove the little pop. Okay, so it sounds okay. To me, it sounds good, but in the headphones, if you're watching at home, there is a lot of room noise, but it's consistent room noise, and I think it can be cleaned up in a pretty simple way. Okay, so the way we would do that in the past is you'd go into your audio tab here inside of Premiere Pro, you'd click dialogue, maybe you'd come in here and find a preset, maybe you try to find like a podcast voice, or you would add specific effects to the audio track itself. Maybe you'd add a like single band or a multi-band compressor. Very efficient tools inside of Premiere Pro. But there is one tool that right now takes the cake on all of them, and that is the Enhanced Audio Speech. Another amazing hack. Okay, and I'm going to click out of this. We'll just cut this clip so we're not like taking the entire thing. Command K. Let's just delete that. W is my ripple delete. So I can get rid of that, and we'll just remove that for now. So this is the only audio I really want to work on here. And if you look in your dialog menu here, there's a button called Enhance Speech. I'm just going to click that. Okay. And while I click that, Premiere's doing its thing. You can see how quickly it's initializing the sound to try to pull out the room tone to make it bassier. It is actually adding all those effects onto one effect, and it takes 2 seconds to do it. So if I play this back now, let's turn it off. This is what it is.
I'm working on a project right now, and I have all of these clips inside of my timeline.
Okay. I don't know if you if you got how good that is, but I'm going to turn it off one more time, and we're going to listen to it together. So that's off. There's no effect on it.
I have all of these clips inside of my timeline, all audio clips that I need to remove the little pop.
That's insane. I mean, just that alone is enough to basically lay on your entire timeline, remove some of that that just room tone and that hiss and the noise that's going on in the background because we weren't recording with a microphone right to our face. And in a lot of cases, you don't have the luxury of being able to do that. So you have to just sort of use the tools at your disposal. Now, if you wanted to really amplify it, you can bring this up to let's say like 9. Sometimes it sounds a little bit too much like you're inside of a closet with a blanket over your head, just in a dark room. And we don't necessarily want that, but I'm going to play it anyway.
All audio clips that I need to remove the little pop.
I mean, that is insane. We're going to go loop playback so we can just kind of play this back a little bit here.
To remove the little pop. So I'm working on a project right now, and I have all of these clips inside.
Okay, absolutely insane. The last little thing that I like to do in this situation is what happens when you're adding this enhanced speech is you're actually bringing that volume down. You're bringing some of the gain down, which is how we're removing a lot of that room tone. So what I like to do is come up here to my effects window under my audio track mixer. All right. Yeah, Rick, that was crazy. You used to like pay for extra plugins. I believe you used to have to go to the Adobe podcast feature and add that audio file and then bring it back into Premiere Pro. Everything is right inside of the beta version, and it takes no time at all to do this. What I'll do here is I'll just go to amplify, and I will double click on the amplify feature. And this now allows me to bring back up some of that volume and that bass. So I'm just going to go like 3 to make sure that my audio levels are still sort of fitting and peaking in that like -12 range.
So I'm working on a project right now, and I have all of these clips inside of my timeline, all audio clips that I need to remove the little pop. So I'm working on a project right now, and I have all of these.
That's just going to be the whole stream. I'm just going to play audio and click the enhanced speech on and off to just blow your mind at home. It still just continues to blow my mind as I work on any projects. And one of the biggest things for me is for a lot of these videos that I've been doing on social media, it has allowed me to finish projects quicker and create things just when they're, creatively running off my head. I'm not searching for lav mics. I'm not, trying to hook everything up. I'm doing it a little bit quicker. You can use your phone if you want to record audio. You have an inspirational idea, and you let enhanced speech clean that track up for you. So have fun playing around with it. Try different clips, try stuff outside. It really, really works on just about anything. And if you want a subtle way to not have to bring it all the way up, you can come in here, turn it on. You can bring this down to 2
clips inside of my timeline.
And it's more subtle. So if you had something that you just wanted to sort of beef up a little bit, that would be the way to do it. Okay. Awesome. Hack number 2. Alex, what is up? I know. Yeah. I think Alex Hogue, who is in the chat, was the one who showed me about the podcast version to clean up audio. And the second it came into Premiere Pro, it's just an amazing hack, very time efficient way to clean up your audio. All right. Hack number 2, save it. Save it, save it, save it. All righty. I'm pulling up my little guide here, everyone. Give me a second because I forget what hacks we want to talk about today. All right. So let's talk about MOGRTs. How's that? I feel like these might take a little while, and I'd really like to get to how to create some custom titles for your social media videos, specifically for Instagram Reels or TikTok videos. Okay. So I've already created this, and we're going to actually do this from scratch, but this is a little sort of custom font, a little wiggly font that we've created here inside of After Effects that I want to turn into a MOGRT so that I can use these. Let me bring Behance up real quick so we can follow along here in the chat. Where did we go? There we go, everyone. All right, sweet. So I want to create a little custom MOGRT here so that we can keep consistency in terms of our brand guidelines, a style guide that we want to create, some sort of consistent color, and add a little flair to it. All right, so we're inside of After Effects. Alex bought a Fix It in Post shirt at Max this year. You bet I did. I should have worn it today. That would have been very appropriate. I forgot. Maybe I'll just go change real quick. All right, so Command N, I'm going to create a new comp. We're going to call this custom MOGRT. All right, for Adobe Live. And I'm keeping that, 9:16 aspect ratio, which, to be totally honest, I have been probably editing and working more in over the last 6-7 months than I ever thought I would. I was very reluctant to this aspect ratio for a long time, but you got to adapt. You got to adapt and learn how to work with the confines of what people want to see. And in this case, 9:16 is what they want to see. Press OK. All right, so we're going to right click in here and we're just going to create, not a solid, we're going to create a couple text files. All right, and when you're creating a MOGRT, and those who are not aware of what a MOGRT is, it's a motion graphics template. You can create them in Premiere Pro. You can create them in After Effects. You can create them in After Effects and then solo the properties, which is what we're about to do here, to bring into Premiere Pro. So I'm going to write out some text, but that text can be changed inside of Premiere Pro. That's the beauty of a MOGRT. Okay, so we're just going to call this custom. We have one font here. I'm going to go Command and double click this little Y tool here. And this actually then centers my anchor point directly inside of my frame. We're going to make sure we have our windows pulled up here. I'm going to go to Align. Let's center that, and let's just move this up. I like to just get everything placed before I duplicate my text. All right, Command D, duplicate the text, move this down. What did I say? Custom MOGRT. Oh, create custom MOGRTs. Create. James is going to voice crack till he's 80 years old. I don't understand. Somehow it happens. Just get too excited, All right, so you can see that in typing that we move that anchor point. Same thing, just switch it over. So if you zoom in a little bit and we look at MOGRT, our anchor point is slightly off. We could either press Y and drag that over and make sure our snapping is on. So we can now snap that to the middle, zoom that out. All right, and we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to align this to the center so that these guys all line up. And Command D, drag this down, press Y on the keyboard, drag this down, create. We're going to call this MOGRTs, and the custom is going to be the middle word. Again, these are all interchangeable inside of Premiere Pro once we actually make them into its own MOGRT. All right. Hogue says he bought the very last t-shirt at Max. That was a great t-shirt, by the way. A lot of good swag this year at Adobe Max. For those that had a chance to go, if you did go, what was your favorite part? I mean, it seems so long ago at this point, but man, what a show. All right, so there we go. That's it. We have no movement. We have no style on it other than the font that I like to use. So I want to add a little bit of style to it. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is go into my libraries panel here. I have a set of colors. You can see here, JB Media Colors. This is one of the libraries I make specifically for my Instagram. These are just like colors that I am drawn to and like to use for different reasons. So I'll use this background for my captions, and I'll use this yellow for the actual like titles or thumbnails or something like that. Okay. And in this case, we'll use them for the graphics. So we're just going to come in here. The first thing I want to do is add a fill property to all of these layers. And so you could just create, a new color inside of the text property itself, but the fill effect allows you to use this as a solo MOGRT or motion graphics property, so we can actually change the color or whatever we want inside of Premiere Pro. So I'm just going to copy this to every one here. And if I press Command on my keyboard and I toil down the little caret, you'll see here our color right now is set to red. I saw James buy one. He's a trendsetter. I like to be a trendsetter. I try. All right, so we're going to go to color, and I'm going to take my little eyedropper tool, bam, right over to the yellow. Press U on the keyboard to close that. Command toil will actually give you every property that you need to see rather than the ones that you've animated. And in this case, we haven't animated any. So we're going to go back here, our dropper. I'm going to do this real fast. Command, down we go. Cool. There we go. All right. So now we got that. Now what I want to do, if we go back to our sample here, we have this really cool little kind of like a wiggly, shaky feeling. I mean, everyone's seen it on social media. It is a bit of a trend right now. Alex talking about trendsetters. I think in this case, I'm probably following the trend, not necessarily setting it. But I think it's kind of cool to just create something else other than a regular animation. Okay, so the way we're going to do that is we are going to create a shape layer. What did I do here, actually? This is good to remember. Sometimes I forget what I did. All right, we're going to create a solid layer here. Okay, it could be any color. We'll just make it that color. Create a solid here. All right, and we're going to go over to Effects. We're going to go to Displacement Map. All right, we're going to drag this on. So bear with me. There's a couple ways to do this. I'm going to show you a different way to do it that I sort of just recently learned, but this is a really cool way to do it. All right, and we're going to go in and create a pre-comp. Actually, first what we're going to do is go up here to the displacement layer. We want it to be the layer below. All right, and let's go in here for a second. Oh, that's a fractal noise layer. See, this is how we all work together, guys. We're all learning as we go. Okay. Medium solid. Oh, so this is fractal noise. Ignore my displacement layer. Okay. For now, we're gonna wait on that because I definitely want to get to some other things. But the first thing I will at least do is add a little bit of position keyframing here, just to show you that we can create some cool little animations and then bring them in as a MOGRT. So Shift Command right will go 1 or 10 frames ahead. So you can see right here, that's a nice little way to get a consistent time here. We're gonna go back here, and I don't want to actually drag my position all the way off. I might just start it right up here. All right, I'm gonna turn my little grid on and my title safe. All right. And then right here, I'm going to right click, and rather than ease both these, I like to ease out my first keyframe and then ease in my second keyframe. And then I actually will highlight this. I'm going to come into my speed graph or value graph, depending on which you like to use. And I'm just going to adjust the velocity at which this happens. So you go from here, boom. It's just nice and smooth, simple. We'll actually just go 1 frame instead of the 2. All right, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stagger these a little bit. So we go 1 here, we'll take custom, move this over. All right, and then we're gonna press P on our keyboard. We're gonna create just really simple keyframes here. Custom, maybe we'll come over with it. So we'll start like here. We're gonna do the same thing, ease out. All right, where am I going here? And ease in. Okay. This is going to be one of those things today that we're going to probably run out of time. I'm going to try not to. So you can kind of see here in animating it on the screen, the custom sort of just pops up and then animates, and I don't really want that. So what I'm going to do is actually go back a little bit here, and I'm going to move our points so that they're starting before my text actually comes in. So it's almost like there's animation happening before we see the text. And that's just something that I think looks a little bit cleaner, okay? And we're gonna do the same thing down here for MOGRTs, so press P on the keyboard. Again, these are kind of like basic After Effects principles, but if you've never used it again, this is a really good way to kind of just start and follow along here. So let's say we wanna start down here. All right. Sean, you've missed a bunch. A car chase, and James saved us all. I did, I saved everyone. James to the rescue, right? All right, so we got this. So you can see the difference of how like just linear and kind of bad that looks without these properties. So ease out and ease in, like we talked about. Highlight those, go to our speed graph, make sure you're clicking these handles. If I zoom in here, all this is doing, plenty of other creators have talked about this before. Ryan Selvey, I was just watching one that he did for Halloween that was awesome. So this is essentially just saying right now it's this like smooth arch. All we want to do is drag this out so that we have this really awesome velocity to start and then sort of like a slow tapered out effect. And if I play that back, you'll see that. It's very subtle, but it is really nice. I think it looks a lot better than just kind of your standard animation. Okay, and we're going to drag this out a little bit. So now we have something that looks like this. Cool. which to me, that looks like catchy. It, I think, would capture the attention. And I think we're kind of good to go on that. All right, so let's make a MOGRT out of this, meaning let's take this little animation. We want to bring properties into Premiere Pro that we can affect and use for our social media videos. All right, and I'm going to do my best to not mess this up and see if I can do it as fast as possible. All right, so I just want one animation. Me personally, I know for my videos, they're not long enough for me to have another like outro animation. So I just keep it this way. And then I sort of do a hack inside of Premiere where rather than animating the out points in After Effects, I just like reverse the composition. So it just animates out instead of me having to go through here and make more of an outro point. Does this work the same in After Effects? Question from Rick. Had a hard time getting Premiere to use the updates as I was building and adding to the MOGRTs. Did you experience any of that? To use the updates as I was building and adding to them. Oh, so like, Rick, are you saying live editing the MOGRTs and then going back into Premiere Pro? I believe you have to re-save it each time you create some sort of new element to it. And I could be totally wrong with that, but that's my thought. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is open up Essential Graphics, okay? So you'll see right here at the top, we now have an Essential Graphics, sort of a MOGRT is being started for us. We can name it. I've already named this JB Custom MOGRT. We have our primary, sample down here. So this is where it's being pulled from. In this case, I wanna actually pull from what we just created. So that's this one right here. We're gonna set the poster frame, and I'm gonna just name this again, Adobe Live MOGRT. We'll just call this V1, okay? And we'll set the poster frame. All right, so the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go solo supported properties and watch what happens when I do this. So everything below that I've just created is a soloed property that we can add to the MOGRT. So the first thing you have to do, and this doesn't have to be intimidating, this is just a rule of thumb of how you want to start first, is you want to drag this source text in. So I know there's no animated properties in there, but those are all the properties that allow us to then change what we want inside of Premiere Pro. So I'm going to go to create and I'm going to drag the source text. Okay, now it says create. That's our source text. All right, now we're going to go to source text custom and we're going to go all the way down to MOGRT and we're going to drag source text create. So now if we just created this MOGRT, the only thing we'd be able to change is what it says. So the colors would stay the same, the animations would stay the same, size, all the other properties would stay the same. We would just change the text, which we could certainly do, but there's more that I want to add. Okay, I want to maybe go in and I want to change the color of these things. So I'm going to take that fill property that we talked about, okay, and we're going to drag it under create. I like to keep these organized so that I know which one, and you'll see what I mean when we get into Premiere Pro. We're going to go down here, again, drag the color under custom, and we're going to drag the color under MOGRTs, okay? So that's now our text and our color. Now I want to change the position. Okay, so we're going to go under here and we're going to drag the position under create. Okay. And where are we at here? Where are we at? Actually, let's leave the position for now because we animated that, so that might be a pain. We're going to drag the scale. We're going to drag the scale. So you can kind of see, you can come in here and you can get really specific about what you want to bring in, and then let's maybe grab the opacity, okay? The opacity of, not the fill, we don't want to grab the fill opacity, we want to grab the opacity of the entire text here. We're going to grab that under create, opacity, and create opacity under, where am I here? Custom, fill color custom, great. And then we'll add one more down here. And then that'll be enough to sort of show you how this is going to work. All right. Now, all you're going to do here is export motion graphics template. Easy as that. Come in here, obviously save the project first, make sure that that happens. Okay. And then you can come in here to this destinations folder. I always save it to the local templates folder because that's where all of the MOGRTs are already sort of set inside Premiere. But if you didn't want to, you can save it to your libraries. You can save a whole folder of your own MOGRTs. Have at it. Have fun. You can add keywords, but we're just going to leave it blank. All right, press OK. Save this. Let's pop back into Premiere Pro. Let's go to our browse window. But first, we are going to move me around down here. We're going to go to captions and graphics because this is where my MOGRTs will be. And I don't even have to leave Premiere Pro. I didn't have to quit, save, reopen it. My MOGRT right here is already saved for us. So I'm just going to drag this on the timeline. Again, if you're just joining right now, I'm not actually creating any sort of project inside of Premiere Pro today. The one I'm working on right now is just raw footage just for like hack purposes. But you kind of get the idea, and you can sort of see how these things work. So I'm going to mute this, and now everything we just did is perfect inside of Premiere Pro. And if I click this, I can now adjust the scale of each of these things. The benefit of bringing the position in, which we probably should have done, is you can move the position of any of these things around and then rescale them and move them. In this case, the scale property doesn't really do us much good because if we scale all of them up, we can't then move them. We can't, move those positions. So what I would probably do, let's actually see if we can do this quickly. Oh man, I got about 20 minutes left. Let's try this. Let's go back here and try one more thing. Because position, I think, for a MOGRT is actually a pretty key feature here. So let's try this. Because this is saying, even though it's keyframed, it might work. Let's see. Okay, and let's go back here. And that heavy MOGRT projects by this time. And if I'm honest, I haven't made any sense. But yeah, Alex, I think that's a good point. Like I definitely worked in MOGRTs a little bit over the last year. I know Dacia, who did the keynote premiere speech at Adobe Max, was talking specifically about MOGRTs, and I know there's a lot more power in them. And again, like I'm not a MOGRT pro, but all I'm trying to teach today is how to create more efficient workflows for you to be able to create more videos, get your voice out there, get your work seen. And for me, at least, this is a way that I don't have to be bogged down in every time I make a video, I have to go back and make a new title. Then I'm making different styles, I'm making different colors. I'm losing track of what I'm trying to do. All right, so let's see if this works. We brought our position in, and we're gonna actually save this as version 2. Again, not like the best naming convention here, but such is life. Okay, export that, save it. We're gonna do the same thing. All right, I'm gonna click this. We're gonna go back into Premiere Pro. Boom, bada boom, boom, boom. And version 2. And let's see if the position allows us to move things around now. Which it does. Okay, so here's what happened with the position. So because we keyframed some of the things, the animation, the keyframe actually didn't come through because we dragged the position properties in, which is fine for the sample that we're gonna do here. But if you were going to actually keyframe something, you'd probably want to pre-compose it before you brought in the position property, because then it's already animated and you can adjust the position. In this case, if I change the scale of custom, I can now come down to MOGRT and I can move this around. I can adjust the scale of this. And if you've seen any of my recent videos, you're kind of seeing now sort of how some of the sauce is made, which is always fun to see how sauce is made. Speaking of sauce, had a great chili last night. That winter fall chili. Anyone else a chili fan? Robert, the question is, are MOGRTs specific for Premiere, or can you use it in After Effects also? No, I believe you can in After Effects as well. That's a good question, actually. Let's see. That's actually a very good question. I never really think to use them inside of After Effects because you're sort of like, you're creating them to send to Premiere Pro. So at that point, you might as well just like use the graphics that you have. And there's a lot more settings inside of After Effects. So if anybody else knows, adding properties to a composition. Yeah. Oh, well, Evan Abrams is here, everyone. So I'm going to get out of After Effects because he is the real After Effects pro. And he might be able to answer that question as well. All right, so we don't have a ton of time left, about 15 minutes, and I'm gonna hop back into Premiere Pro, and I want to talk about stylizing some captions. Okay, there's a couple of new cool features that I want to talk about specifically around captions that are gonna make your videos pop even more and look a little bit better. All right, so we're gonna keep this. Doesn't look great right now because I'm sort of doing it on the fly, but let's see. And again, we can change the fill color. We can bring this to white. Okay, we can Maybe go create is white as well. So any property you feel like you want to bring in, you could bring in different line weights. Now I can actually take this globally and I can move this down and, keep my titles here. And one thing I will mention for anyone creating specific titles and videos for Instagram Reels, you got to be very careful about where these safe margins are. Sometimes I bring in templates of a previous reel because there's always the caption below, then there's the insights button. So your titles really should start, or your captions really should be starting like somewhere up here, which is a huge pain and a big workaround. So yeah, so that's our title. Okay, we're gonna just hide that for now. And all I'm gonna do, I want to show you some caption design before we kind of wrap up here. All right, so I'm gonna go into a different panel. Nope, we're gonna stay in captions and graphics because that's what we're gonna be working on here. And I'm gonna go to text. All right, most of you probably know how to do this already, but the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna transcribe our sequence. Okay, so Premiere has gotten insanely good at doing this. We're gonna go transcribe. It's gonna do its thing in the background, tell us what words I am saying wrong or poorly, and give us a spit out transcript in a few seconds. All right, so you can see not a lot here just because we're trying to save the time and just show you the examples here. All right, Evan, big fan of Evan Abrams. Thanks for popping in here today. I've learned a lot from you over the years and still continue to do so. So thank you that's what's amazing about this community, having people on here that can kind of bring you into their world and show you a little bit of knowledge. All right, enough about that. Let's go into captions. We're gonna create captions from transcript. All right, and here you have all these different preferences. So I like to do a single line instead of a double line. I just think nowadays it looks better, keeps the attention of a viewer, keeping them watching. We're gonna take our minimum duration in seconds and we're gonna drag that all the way down. Sometimes it does like a weird thing where it doesn't let go. All right, and then we're gonna go drag this all the way down as well. I don't have a style set yet, but that's one thing that we're gonna do here. Gap between frames, let's leave it, and let's press OK. All right, we're gonna create our captions. And now, if we play it back.
So I'm working on a project right now, and
I need to turn that enhance audio on again though, because man, it doesn't sound very good, huh? It's like, if it's not enhanced, it does not sound good.
These clips.
See? Oh, incredible. Back to that other hack, man. It is amazing. All right. So this is something that I just learned recently inside of the captions that I think is very, very cool. And something that I've been kind of seeing a lot of other creators do. And I've always sort of wondered, are they creating animations inside of After Effects with their captions, or is there an easier way to do it? All right. So I'm going to the first thing I like to do is stylize my caption for what I know my look is. So I'm going to drag this up. All right. You have these different align transform buttons. So let's say you wanted to just keep everything in the center for ease of use. We're going to go in here. I'm going to go into my window here. I have this font that I like called Gibson. I'm going to use that. And then I'm going to go to all caps. And then I like to have a background, but I'm going to pull my libraries up so that my background is always this consistent color that I have on all my videos. We're going to select this one. And then I like to bring this background shadow sort of up to 12 so you still see it. Okay, so if you go here versus here, this style just looks a little bit better. For me, it's a little more consistent. All right, and so the first thing I'm gonna do is I want this track style to be consistent across the entire caption track, right? So two ways you can do it. You can go push to track style. If I do that, I believe what'll happen is it'll take the style, but it won't take the positioning, okay? And it won't take some of the other like features and elements. But the easiest way to do that is go to track style, create style. We're gonna call this like base captions. Not sure what happened. I think I just had a light go out on the side of my head here. And if we do that, so
I'm working on a
track here is immediately updated.
Project right now, and I have all of these clips.
Cool. I'm liking the way that's looking. Okay. But what if I want to take this one step further and I want to add some sort of animation to it? I don't want it to just be like a static caption that comes in. I want to do something fun with it. All right. This is something that I literally just learned before I got on the stream. So I'm very excited to show it to you. And I think we can do it. All right. So we're going to highlight all of our captions. Now, the one gripe that I've had in the past with captions is it's just a caption layer, a file. You can't really do anything with it. You can't adjust keyframes or positions. But if you go and highlight all these and you go up to graphics and titles, you'll see a button that says upgrade caption to graphic. Just get ready for your mind to explode. Upgrade to graphic. And now, let me do that one more time because I don't know if we can all see that. We highlight this. Okay. Graphics and titles, upgrade caption to graphic. And now we have a graphics track that has our captions on it, meaning we can do whatever we want with each one of these caption files in a way that we couldn't do on the caption track previously. So in this case, I have a couple different like presets, zoom transitions, or text transitions that I have. Yeah, Alex, this is crazy. Stick around. Let's see. So I have a, what do I do here? What did I do here? I need to add, import presets. Here we go. So I have a preset of like some zoom text transitions here. We're going to add that in here and press zoom. And these are just like different presets that I've purchased and downloaded over the years. This I think is specifically from Motion Array, great resource for a lot of this kind of stuff. And if I drag this on our clip, we can now see that if I play this back,
So I'm working on,
I now have an animation of that caption track. But what if I want them on every single one? Highlight, boom, ready?
so I'm working on a project right now.
That's a lot of zoom in.
And I have all of these clips inside of my timeline.
A lot of transitions, a lot of zoom ins, but you kind of get the idea of how quickly and easily it is for you to actually just create this really cool, like animated transition. You can really go like frame by frame, all because of this one feature here, upgrade to source graphics. So if you took anything away from that little hack, we've talked about captions on here before. I know a lot of other creators have as well. That's a feature that I think is something that I didn't realize existed. I'm sure it's been around for a little while. Again, it's just another hack that allows you to get more customizable with some of your captions. All right. Robert, your question, are some way to sync caption to the video you have? Edit only video, not sound. I'm not exactly sure what that question is, Robert. If you can be a little clearer on it. And then Sean, yeah, captions in Express are so cool and easy. You can edit everything after. Yeah, that's a great option as well. Sean, can you actually, like, can you download like caption styles from Express and pull those into Premiere? Okay, last thing I want to talk about as we are running pretty low on time is color. All right, so the final thing, we've created our project file. We've probably skipped over the important thing of actually editing the video, but we all know we can do that. So we've edited the video. We've added our custom graphics and LUTs here, which is really cool. We've added our captions. We've created a really, really cool style with that. We've enhanced this audio so that it just sounds nice and crispy, even when we didn't record it that way. And the last thing we want to do is add a little bit of color and save a LUT lookup table so that you can use in future videos. All right, so let's hide this. Let's hide this. Let's just focus on the color for now. We're going to go into our workspace, color, boom, boom, wham, bam. And we are going to just create a little color grade. And I'm going to show you how to create this, save it as a LUT so that you can use it in your future videos. Again, so that you have a nice, consistent style and a consistent workflow for your videos. All right, so this is my sort of waveform that I have set up. I like to see right here the scopes. This is just my highlights and my shadows, my whites, my darks. And that's the first thing that I tend to do when I'm shooting in a flat color profile is I like to come in here, crush the blacks, and then adjust the overall exposure here. So let's bring the exposure up. And in doing that, I've now expanded that dynamic range a little bit without any curves or contrast yet. Okay, we're gonna come into our saturation because again, I did shoot this with a low profile. And if you look at the right scope here, you'll see that it's actually adding that saturation on, off. Even just that alone has helped. If I want to bring maybe some cooler tones back in here, I'm doing this to follow where these scopes are. They're actually used pretty frequently for me in my workflow, and there's a reason I keep them up there. Let's go back into our curves. We're going to add a little bit of contrast, so we have a nice look and feel here. Boom. Let's drag our video up to here because this is where my eyes are. This is where you can start seeing a little bit more of my skin tone in my face. Maybe we want to bring the whites up a little bit. All right. And then maybe the curves. Maybe I don't really like the way this yellow looks. I want to take the yellow and move the hue a little bit. Okay. So I'm going to take my eyedropper here, click this yellow, and I'm going to actually pull this down. Ooh, that doesn't look good. Let's pull it up a little bit. I tend to like more of the warmer tone rather than that like green yellow tone. Probably not a good decision to wear that day, but you get the idea. And then let's see if I can maybe take the blue here and turn it into more of like a teal. Okay, so it's not really doing too much there. So that's inside of your specific like curves color palette here. If we want to go to our color wheels down below, you can actually come in here and take the midtones and the shadows and the highlights and adjust those as well. So let's say I wanted my midtones to be a little bit warmer. I could come in here and really drastically crank it. This gives you like a nice little style look. Okay, so if you're looking for something that has a little more like a preset look, this is a good place to do it. Let's take the blue, the shadows, and make those like, let's take those and make them a little bluer. And the highlights, let's bring the highlights up to the right. And now we have something that is definitely starting to look like a nice color grade with a little bit of a look there, okay? Now, I have a lot of different LUTs that I've, again, created, collected. There are some that exist inside of Premiere Pro. So that's like what I would consider the color grade or the color correction, if you will. And then this would be the color grade. Let's see here. So that's looking pretty nice. I actually think this needs to go a little cooler because it looks too warm for me. All right, so that's like a nice little color grade. Sorry, color correction. Getting all tongue-tied today. And I'm gonna go to the creative and let's just like click around here for a sec and see if we like any of these. Let's say I like this Kodak B that already exists. It's really, really intense. So all I'm gonna do is come in here and press 30 and bring that down. And I actually think it's still pretty intense. So let's just go to 15 to grab a little bit of a LUT to it, okay? And this looks really, really nice, very clean. Let's say I want this to always be the consistent look that I go with, especially because if I'm shooting in a consistent environment like this office with the lights behind me, the only real things that are going to change might be the color of my shirt, giving off a different hue. I have, blackout curtains here to control the light. So I know this is going to look pretty consistent throughout every video I shoot. All you're going to do is come up here to Lumetri Color. You're going to go to the hamburger and you're going to go export.cube. Okay. A cube file is essentially a LUT, a lookup table. You're going to save it to wherever you have things saved. I have on my desktop here, I have my JB Media Assets. So I have LUTs in here. I have all sorts of things. I'm just going to name this LUT for, what are we doing on time here? LUT for live, and we're going to save it. All right. And now I believe what you have to do with this is you probably have to quit out of Premiere Pro. So we're just going to do that really quick. All right. And then I'm going to show you that we can very easily put these on moving forward. And I think we're going to be having a wrap up here. All right. So we're going to go open this up back to the beta version. All right. And we'll bring this back in. Marsha asked, can you add a bit of grain? Absolutely. You can add a bit of grain. You can, this is just my specific style. What happened here? Did we just open up a wrong file? We did, but you'll get the idea once we just see what's in our panel here. We're not going to save that. Here it is. Here it is. Grain, no gluten. Yeah, you can add grain, not gluten. Any other questions? Let's see. That'd be great. Green is the new yellow, Mike. Yeah, I agree. I do agree with that. Okay, so now if we go to our creative window here, you can see that we have, where did you go? Oh, we have to actually bring it in. Okay, LUT for live. The way that you can actually save these inside of your specific creative panel, I'm running out of time to do this, but basically you'd have to go into your applications window and you have to find where the Lumetri color source is. So if we go in here and open all these contents up and show these package contents, you'll see that down here there's a Lumetri color tab, and then there's a LUTs folder and a creative. and you'll see that those are where all the LUTs are saved. So you would just copy that LUT right into this folder, and it would always be here inside of this panel. But for now, we can just find it here. Boom. Again, we already have that LUT saved, and we're good to go. Okay. Again, a really great way to create that look that you're looking for, look that you're going for, that consistent brand style that you want, and just have fun with building these assets and building these efficient workflows to save you time in the edit, especially at the end, and just to get you to share your content more efficiently and as quickly as possible. All right, so that is it for me today. I think we're just about out of time. Thank you to everyone in the chat for your comments, for your support, for being here to follow me along on this masterclass on a Monday. I had a blast, and it always goes way too fast. So again, stick around. I'm sure there's tons more content coming up on Adobe Live today. The creators in the community are absolutely wonderful. If you want to watch the replay, head over to the Adobe Live YouTube channel. Subscribe if you haven't already on all the socials, and reach out to me with any questions you have after the stream. That's it for me, everyone. Hope to be back on here soon. Thank you, everyone, and have a great rest of the week. Take care, everyone.